The Roosevelt Institute. It was a focus group conducted with 35 white voters in Macomb County, Michigan. They didn't have college degrees. They voted for Obama at least once and identified as independents, Democratic, leaning independents, or Democrats.
You know what Macomb is too, right? That's the home of the polling of the Reagan Democrats.
Right. And Macomb went for Obama both in 2008 and 2012, but then flipped to Trump in 2016. These voters said that they mistrust Republican congresspeople, lawmakers. The voters trusted Trump, however, based on his promises to quash government corruption, bring back jobs, put America first, and lower healthcare costs.
Wow.
I mean, so much for that.
Something else.
But the good news here is that basically everything that they are supportive of were actually leftist rhetoric, it turns out. Leftist attacks on the status quo in this country. It does also, however, in this report, expose a certain amount of racism that these people had, but that it's exacerbated by their economic situation. So there's some examples, and this is most of this is drawing on the work of Eve Pazer, who writes about this in Vice. There was one woman there who explained, "I went and finally signed up for Medicaid, and I'm standing in the damn welfare office, and I'm looking around all these people that can't even say hello to me in English." I bet you they could, but they're all there with appointments for their workers, which means they have the health care, they have the food stamps. If you can come from somewhere else, why can't we all get it? Right? Now, this is important. It's not just like, I don't want them to get it. It's like, why can't we all get it?
Many similar comments in Kentucky around that program.
Yes. There was a chorus of hostility, Pazer writes, Poozer, if you prefer, Poser.
Pudzer, actually.
The chorus was a hostility from Trump supporters toward immigrants who don't assimilate, specifically by not speaking English. A number of them complained about being denied food stamps when they were in need, while also rejecting the notion that they benefited from white privilege. So these aren't necessarily the most woke people, as it were. But there's also a sense it's easier to trigger these resentments when people feel like they are getting screwed themselves. Now, this is a fairly obvious dynamic. Another quote, "It's almost like you wonder, how are they working the system that you're not?" Chris, another study participant, responded. A third, Matt, responded by suggesting perhaps we're checking the wrong box when we're filling out paperwork, meaning they'd be provided with social services they desperately need if they weren't white. Many of the study's participants liked Trump because he was willing to tell white people that they were getting the short end of the stick. But she writes also, but what's also clear is that these people really want better access to food stamps and other social services. So they are not hostile to what Democrats are offering. They are just mad that they don't feel like they're getting them.
You know, 3 just quick points on that. I think they might be hostile, though, to means testing and non-universal programs.
Well,
so that is
exactly.
Unfortunately what a lot of Democrats are offering.
Yes, true.
And
True. No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And, one of the problems with the Affordable Care Act is like, we saw this in Kentucky, right? Where people are like, I'm at 140% of poverty and I'm getting subsidies, but it's still costing me an arm and a leg to get health insurance. If I was a little bit poorer, I'd be getting Medicaid. which is, people are living basically in the same area. They're probably not having access to any better care. It's just that it's covered. It's
Or
paid
when
for.
people consciously make choices at certain points to keep their income down so they stay eligible for.
There's always going to be a problem with any type of program like that. And it's not, it shouldn't exist in maybe any of these programs. But there's a certain inevitability if you set up a program to have a dividing line that there's always going to be that problem around that line. But broadly speaking, that's why you go with a universal program,
That's
right?
exactly right. And that's what they would respond to. And can I just, the other two really...
I'm going to be bummed
Yeah.
if I'm making $150,000 a year, and if I was making $145,000 a year, my kid is going to get free college. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to quit my job.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's make it universal.
Pissed, exactly. And
Or
that's
I'm
what
gonna be
also
pissed.
makes those programs vulnerable to be racialized and to be cut. And
Yeah.
in the original polling on Reagan Democrats in the same county, they identified probably more overt racism than they're identifying now. But as I recall reading Stan Greenberg on it, they said both Democrats are right about corporations. They perceive them as being better on that than Republicans. But they pretty much were like, neither party is going to be able to rein in corporate abuse because corporations pretty much run everything. But at least Republicans will attack racial minorities. So that was basically how they broke it down.
And the writer here makes the point. Democrats don't have to abandon or even de-emphasize support for minorities
Not at
and for
all.
women or any of this. It's just that they've got to walk and chew gum.
And the real deplorables are not, that is where it will be a problem. But there
Right,
are
of
these
course.
people who
Exactly.
absolutely, it's just like what Bill
You're
Fletcher
not going
Jr.
to get
said.
the locker-ups.
Yeah, you're not going to get the locker ups. So
Screw
don't
them.
worry about it. Fuck them.
Screw
Right,
them.
exactly. Excuse me.
But there are votes to get out there that theoretically the Democrats support that are not, let me put it this way, the programs that Democrats support or supposedly support, or the broad principles that Democrats supposedly support, are not alienating those voters.
I would have won is another way of having this conversation. You
Absolutely.
stupid bastards.
Yeah.
But no,
That's an easy
it
way.
was so important to not elect me and have universal programs so we could have Rihanna, or not even Rihanna, Lena Dunham rallies in friggin' Ohio. You idiots.
Hey folks, Sam Seder here. Donald Trump can kiss all of our asses. And one way he can is by you subscribing to this channel. I don't know how that works.